One thing about Nashville, there are so many things about Nashville, but one is this town is full of good songs, but it's the exceptional songs that we're after.
Okay.
It's a big, big difference. We can have a good idea that something may be a hit, but it doesn't always turn out that way. But more often than not, it does if you've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
You just know, and I'm pretty still regularly asked to review songs, and it's a neat place to be because I can give them a listen in with an editorial perspective. And it's a real interesting process because if somebody's got something and it has some magic in it, and we call it magic because we don't know what else to call it.
Welcome to Curious Goldfish, a podcast community where music and curiosity come together through interesting conversations with the music makers of our world. I'm your host, Jason English. You can find Curious Goldfish on all the major podcast and social media platforms, and of course, we have all of our content on our website, curiousgoldfish.com. Welcome back to the podcast. I've been thinking about what separates a good song from the kind that stops you in your tracks, the kind that makes you roll the window down or sit still long enough to really listen. And that's where today's guest comes in. Roger Murrah has spent his life shaping those kinds of songs. From the red dirt of Alabama to the bright lights of Music Row, he's written and mentored in a way that's helped define the Nashville sound for decades. You know his work, even if you don't realize it, because his songs have been cut by the very people who built the soundtrack of country music. But what I find most fascinating about Roger isn't the hits. It's the way he talks about magic, the moment in a song where something unexplainable happens, where it goes from just good to exceptional. So in this conversation, we dig into that, the craft, the intuition, the patience, and the editing that turns a spark into something unforgettable. From the farm fields of North Alabama to the heart of Music City, here's my conversation with Nashville Songwriter Hall of Famer, Roger Murrah. Let's dive in.
Hey, Roger. Thanks for your time, man. It's so good to meet you.
My pleasure, man.
So it's...
glad to have you in Nashville.
Oh, my gosh. I love Nashville.
I do, too. I tell you. I moved up from Alabama in 1972.
Yeah.
And I consider myself a Tennessean now.
Yeah.
But... I love Middle Tennessee, man.
I mean, it is beautiful.
Now, are you from Oregon?
No, originally from the Midwest, Missouri.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
Then I raised my family in Colorado.
Okay.
But then I've been in Atlanta for about 4 years.
Oh, okay.
So I'm getting a fair share of the South.
So you're a Southern boy too.
I mean, I'm getting there. I'm getting there, but I love it.
Yeah.
The hospitality and everything. So it's great. But so it's Saturday here in Nashville. I guess if you weren't doing this, and by the way, I appreciate your time.
Oh, absolutely.
Songwriting Hall of Famer Roger Murrah today. What would you be doing on a Saturday if you weren't doing this?
Well, one thing, I'd have slept a little longer. Not a lot. I mean, tonight we're going to it's a new venue setting in Franklin called Red Wheel.
Okay.
And they're doing a lot of songwriter shows, and we're going to see some of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I have a bunch of questions, obviously, but
these
days, like when you're going around town on a Saturday in Nashville, I'm assuming you still listen to the radio. If you hear a song that comes on that, you were part of, do you still get a little bit of, I don't know if they're butterflies or a little bit of adrenaline?
Oh, I thought you were talking about money. Yeah, we get paid for it.
Well, we'll get to that
not
too.
Not butterflies. I just have a great appreciation, man.
Yeah.
I still shake my head at so many things that have happened and so many things that continue to happen.
Yeah.
It's just kind of unbelievable, really.
Yeah.
Because I came from a very average background, born on a farm, and I'm not all that educated, but I learned how on the street. I kind of learned business and stuff like that. But uh, I guess I'm just saying I came from a kind of a simple background,
Sure.
and the music has taken me to great heights,
Yeah.
really.
No, that's great. But are you writing anymore?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Is that something that
Oh, yeah.
you'll always do?
Oh
I
yeah.
imagine.
I've got a brand new song that we're hoping that Alan Jackson may do on his last album. It's called Back Porch Poet.
Okay.
Kind of suits our fitting today. And so I've got about 3 songs in the running for this album,
Okay.
and hopefully Alan will like them. He hasn't heard them yet, but
That's very inspiring. I'm in my early 50s, and I started this podcast about a year and a half ago.
you look young, man.
Well, I
I
appreciate
would have thought late 40s at the most.
Okay, good. Well, you got me.
Good for you.
Well, thank you. You bought me a few years there. That's good.
I bet you didn't know I was in my 90s.
It's all good.
I'm actually 78, but
Well, you look great too.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. But it's so inspiring that, given the career you have, that you're still going at it. I guess, are you inspired by different things today than you would have been, 30 years ago?
no, it'd probably be similar things.
Yeah.
But I'm working with young talent these days, and that's always inspiring to me to see somebody, what I call after it. And if they're not after it, they're not going to catch it, because you have to be after it. You have to have that passion. So I enjoy working with younger writers who are excited about having the opportunity that I've already experienced.
Yeah.
And so I get to experience it again.
How do you know when someone's after it versus not?
You can tell.
Yeah.
You can tell. It's going to be, you can tell if they're really interested, if they're doing research on writers and songs, and who they're following, and just kind of what motivates them. And you can sense it. And you can sense it when they're not too.
Okay.
And,
All right.
and usually that kind of turns me off. So
Yeah.
I'll find a way out.
So when you sold your catalog a few years ago, I guess, obviously, hopefully that was a positive thing all the way around. What's the business side look like for you now that you've sold your past catalog? Is everything you're creating now kind of a separate, or does it
No,
all?
oh
kind
yeah,
of-
it's separate.
It's separate,
And
okay.
I own it 100%.
Got it.
And so basically what I did, I sold copyrights,
Okay.
like a catalog, out of my publishing, which is Murrah Music Corporation. So I still have that, retain that name, and I'm putting new songs in. Plus I retained hundreds of songs that never were exploited.
Okay.
I only sold exploited songs.
And Exploited is
They had been
They were out there.
released to the public
released out there. Okay.
and actually making money.
Okay.
That's all they were interested in.
Yeah. So you have a whole catalog that no one's ever heard of, or no one has heard.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Unexploited.
And brand new things.
Yeah, brand
Yeah,
new things.
yeah.
Man, that's incredible.
And some of them are surprisingly really good.
I would imagine.
I'm still surprised as much as anybody else when we get a good one.
Okay.
And one thing about Nashville, there are so many things about Nashville, but one is this town is full of good songs. But it's the exceptional songs that we're after.
Okay.
It's a big, big difference.
Well, similar to what I just asked you about, how do you tell if someone's after it or not? How do you know if it's exceptional or not?
Well, actually, from years of experience, we just know what kind of works and what doesn't.
Okay.
And so we can have a good idea that something may be a hit, but it doesn't always turn out that way. But more often than not, it does if you've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
You just know, the characteristics of what will touch people.
Okay.
and what will appeal and what won't.
Okay.
And I'm pretty still regularly asked to review songs, and having become an editor, maybe a better editor than anything I do, because I've developed a lot of songwriters,
Mm-hmm.
And it's a neat place to be because I can give them a listen in a with an editorial perspective,
Mm.
and it's a real interesting process because if somebody's got something and it has some magic in it, and we call it magic because we don't know what else to call it, but if it's got magic in it, we do what we call surgery, but you kind of work around their magic. You don't want to mess their magic up.
Okay.
So you have to be very delicate and know what you're doing, you know. And not a lot of us around, actually, that can do that.
I love that.
And not that many as good as I am.
I love the confidence. I mean, you've got it.
Well, it's
you have
just,
to back it up.
you know, experience has taught me. That's all there is to it.
Jeez.
You just do it, and you do it, and you do it, and you do it, and you do it. And then when you get tired, you do it again.
Yeah.
And so it's just experience.
Well, so back to the notion of an exceptional song. If you picture a pie chart, you know, and like 100% of the pie is covered, how big's the slice that you would point to the lyrics versus the melody versus the instrumentation? You know, is it kind of equally weighted to make an exceptional song, or would you put more weight on
instrumentation? You wouldn't really delve into that.
Okay.
It's the lyric and melody.
The lyric and melody. Okay.
Yeah. And primarily the lyric. That's assuming that their melody is okay.
Yeah.
But you may know how to enhance that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is the hook, is that considered part of the melody? Like, does the song have to have a
well,
good
you
hook?
can have a melody hook,
Yeah.
and you can have a lyric hook, or you can have a lyric melody hook,
Okay.
which is the best.
Okay.
It's both, you know.
Okay.
And most of the time in Nashville, we write it all together. You know, in LA, there are people, in New York, there are people who are composers, they're lyricists.
Hmm.
That's all they do. And then they pair up with a melody writer. But in Nashville, we do it all. We do it all as we go. And I think it's the best way to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely want to come back, obviously, to your thoughts on songwriting, and we're going to do hopefully a fun exercise in a few minutes. But I probably should.
I hope that's fun.
Well, I hope. I mean, it may not be fun for me because I'm going to give you some words and I'm going to have you critique it.
Okay.
Because I just want to see how your brain works. But I probably should have opened.
Are you willing for me to be honest?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Because I want to.
It won't work any other way.
No, I know. Like, and you're not going to hurt my feelings because
No.
I am not a songwriter. But I what I have is words on paper.
Okay.
So whatever. But I just want to kind of see what you look for, and what you're thinking, and then
Mm-hmm.
you know you can throw it off the balcony if you want. But so I probably should have.
I'll be nice since we've been recorded.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we just met too. And I probably should have led with this, but I couldn't remember all the stats about your life, but Hall of Famer, according to the Nashville Songwriter Hall of Fame, right? Which I know you've spent a lot of time at leading and being a part of that, but Hall of Fame songwriter. I think you're credited to at least 14 number one hits.
Yeah.
That number, maybe more. I don't know.
And I like to quickly say I had some 2s and 3s, which should have been number one. But George Strait was probably in the number one. We couldn't get him out of the way, you know.
Oh, okay, yeah. I never thought about that.
That stuff happens. I know with Alan Jackson, I think one of the best songs in country music is Chasing That Neon Rainbow. But no, wait a minute, I think that one did go number one. But he had one that was a phenomenal song, but it only went to 2. So you have those kind of stories, you know, that some of the classic country songs didn't go to number one, but they got a ton of airplay.
Right.
And were very successful, just didn't go number one. but there's a lot of reasons that can happen, you know, and but mostly it's timing, which nobody has control over.
Well, I play a little bit of golf, but it's kind of like golf. It's like, okay, Jack Nicklaus has 18 majors, Tiger Woods has 15, but it's the second place and third place finishes that are actually incredible. You know, when you look at look at their career, it's like, man, they were always in contention.
Yeah, and for songwriters, at least for me, to just mention the number ones seems a little bit slightly unfair.
Okay.
Because we had a lot of successful songs that never reached number one.
All right.
And but I understand the question.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to establish, in case, you know, people were like, okay, he's talking to this songwriter that's in Nashville. You know, your name might not be household for everybody that might watch. So I just want to kind of credentialize you and you know, set the stage there, which is important.
One thing I'm really, really proud of is in the 80s, I was BMI's Songwriter of the Decade.
Yeah, the whole decade.
Yeah.
I mean, there were so many good songs in that decade.
Yeah, I know. And but I just happened to have a bunch in that period, time period. And one time I had 3 in the top 5. I had one at 1, one at 2, one at 4, or something like that. And I was sitting in my living room or office wishing that number 1 would move where we could get 4 up there and stuff like that, you know, which you have no control over. But that was...
I didn't realize songwriters were so competitive. Like you're...
Well, now, yeah, we are. But you know what? We're also... me for sure, I'm very happy for my colleagues to have hits.
Sure. To
have success, because I know what they went through to get there.
Yeah.
And but we are competitive in a friendly way. But when something great happens for any of us, we're all happy for each other.
Yeah.
And there would be very few exceptions to that. You know.
Okay. Well,
there are some people with egos bigger than their good sense.
Well, that's the case anywhere, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's the case anywhere. Right. All right, so I've got some questions for you. There's a little bit of rapid fire, but I wanted to kind of get your thoughts. So, what's the best example of a Roger Murrah lyric that you can think of?
Well, I'll tell you what comes to my mind when I think about something like that is I had a song that I wrote many years ago that was recorded by a bluegrass group called the Osborne Brothers.
Okay.
And one reason I remember it so well is it was my mother's favorite song. But she basically liked the Osborne Brothers. That's all that mattered, you know, about that. But I had a chorus in that song I feel like was very, very emblematic of my lyrics. And I'll quote it for you if you don't mind.
Yeah.
It's, these are just some things I want to sing about. Memories I can't live without. Diamonds buried deep down in my mind. Thoughts I can't quit thinking. A fountain I keep drinking from, and the taste is getting sweeter all the time. Isn't that cool?
That's so good.
I got cold chills.
That's so good.
I'm so good, you know? But I tell you, those lyrics just fell, man. They really came together. And the song is very autobiographical.
Okay. Well, tell me more about that.
Well, the most popular song I probably have that was somewhat autobiographical was High Cotton.
High Cotton, yeah.
By Alabama.
Yeah.
But these are just some things I want to sing about. I didn't know what the title would be. And so I just told myself, these are just some things I want to sing about. And so that became the title. And
it feels like you were in a very grateful mindset and attitude with those words, right? Like, you know, just in terms of life and appreciation.
Yeah, I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a poet. I never was a poet. And I don't know. I just kind of developed a sense for it. But this may be interesting, but I actually got into business to be a singer.
Hmm.
And when I had my little band, I was in, I, I sang for 2 or 3 bands. And what was unique about us was we were all white boys singing R&B music. That was my background.
Okay.
I love R&B, still do, and I was able to incorporate that into country, which was great for melodies, you know.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say, as a singer, I couldn't remember the lyrics, so I just make my own up. And it gave me a sense of how lyrics go with melodies and what sounded good and what sounded bad. And then as time went on, I backed into the writing, and it took off. And I wasn't able to do the artist thing. I like to say because I didn't have time, but I might not have been successful anyhow. But I love the fact the writing took off. That really is what I'm all about. That and developing writers
Yeah.
and teaching.
So when you were growing up, were you acing English? Was reading and writing something that you always
English.
excelled at? Or
No. English was my worst subject.
You're kidding me.
It was.
Jeez.
It was, and I'm still surprised now that I can manage grammar as well as I do.
No, I know.
Because I do a lot of writing letters and correspondence and stuff like that. And I've loved working with words like that. But I was totally bored with English growing up. And my best subject was what we used to call arithmetic, math.
Yeah, exactly.
And that and recess is my favorite subject, you know. So,
Well, good. All right. So you mentioned High Cotton. I remember listening to that as a kid. So you mentioned it was autobiographical about your time in Athens, Alabama, growing up on the farm. So if that's the best representation of Roger Murrah and your childhood, what's the best song that you've written that is representation of your adult life?
Well, you know, I think it'd be a combination.
Okay.
The most successful song I ever had was "We're in This Love Together," that Keith Stegall and I wrote, and it was recorded by a pop jazz artist named Al Jarreau. And we took it to Al, and Al took it to the world. I'm telling you, he was an amazing artist. But "We're in This Love Together," and then a song called "Ozark Mountain Jubilee."
Oh, that's a good one.
Thank you, man. The Oak Ridge Boys recorded. But that fusion of lyric would say as much about me as anything, I think.
That's awesome.
Because they're totally different.
Yeah.
The approach and the concept of the songs are totally different. And but it's that confusion that springs from me. And so I'd say that.
So I grew up in Minn, Missouri, just north of the Ozarks.
Yeah.
And the notion of Jubilee is interesting because a lot of people say, well, Jubilee represents a festival or a party, but it actually has some religious connotations.
Yes.
And I know the Oak Ridge Boys.
Comes from the Bible, yeah.
Yeah, it comes from the Bible. I know the Oak Ridge Boys sing a lot of gospel
Yeah.
through the years. So I guess how much of that topic of religion and faith played into that, or did you just love the term Jubilee and you wanted to work that into the song?
Well, okay, on Ozark Mountain Jubilee, we were sitting in this office writing the song, Scott Anders and I, and we had a atlas book on the table, and so we just thumbed through it. I said, let's take it somewhere where we haven't been before. You know, usually they go south or they go north, or, yeah, whatever. So I said, when it came time, I said, let's go to Missouri.
There you go.
And so that's kind of how our journey went with the song. And I loved it, man. And then we went on into the Ozarks.
Yeah.
And then we didn't know what the title was going to be. We didn't have a title when we started, which is a whole other subject to talk about. But I recalled Jubilee at the right time, man. And when I said Ozark Mountain Jubilee, boy, I had cold chills.
It was it.
I knew it was right, you know. And but it was from memory of the Bible. Yeah.
That's
And
incredible.
the Jubilee, it was a celebration.
Mm-hmm.
And the song really is about a man's whole life journey, and then he comes back home to be buried. So it's a complete cycle. But when you're dealing with death in songs, which a lot of bluegrass music does that, it's very dark, can be. But so you have to be real subtle. So we don't. We were very careful how we did that. But but that's kind of some ideas about it.
All right. So as much success as you've seen and the joy and the chills that you get from your own stuff, what are some lyrics or songwriters that you sort of are jealous of? If there is jealousy around, like, you know, what other lyrics you wish you would have
Believe
written?
me, there's some jealousy.
Yeah.
And I experienced that a lot with several of Mickey Newberry's songs.
Mickey Newberry. Okay.
Mickey Newberry is a great writer.
Okay.
He was from Oregon, but he went by the way of Texas, I think. And he's kind of recognized as one of the Texas poets, I believe. He, like Guy Clark and some other people. But boy, Mickey Newberry, goodness gracious. He's got this song called Cotillia Clark. And it's about him as a child, Mickey as a child, going to see this train with this Cotillia Clark, who was a blind black man. And one of his lines says, he was black and I was green. And another thing he said that Cotillia told him was, that's the loudest thing I've ever seen. Oh. Isn't that a killer? Golly, when I read that, or when I heard it, it blew me away, man. And he also wrote, just came back to see what condition my condition is in, that Kenny Rogers had a big hit on. And but Mickey, he was one of the best ballad writers ever. And most every writer loves to write ballads. And then we get to Nashville, they say, give us up-tempo with meat in it, which is the hardest song to write. And but Mickey could do that too. But he wrote a lot of ballads that became what we call album songs. And every once in a while, one would sneak out. And see, when those monster ballads come out, they can sell more records than any up-tempo ever. But you have to sneak them out because the label people, record label people, think you got to have up-tempo positive to get radio airplay. That's what ran the machine.
Do you think that with the streaming world and how music has changed, do you think that those ballads that you referenced and other songs that would be part of like a concept album, do you think it's more difficult for those to sneak through today than they would have been, buying vinyl?
No, because the people will discover them.
So they'll just discover them.
And
if they're good, if they're exceptional, then
they'll talk about them. They'll tell their friends about them.
Yeah.
And it's kind of this new concept that we're dealing with, I would say, would be good for ballads.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So that it's more democratization, or there's an openness to that.
Yeah.
Back to your point about being exceptional. Like if it's exceptional, it'll hit. Okay. No, that's great. Well, so we mentioned the Oak Ridge Boys. Rick Hall in Muscle Shoals, you worked for, I think.
Yeah.
Did he hire you when you were still in the military?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I came home on leave, and I took my mother over to a place called Rogersville, Alabama. It's where women could go to buy shoes at a good price. And so while I was over there, I thought, I want to go on over and see if I can meet with Rick Hall, who was just a few more miles away. And so I did and met with him, and he said he was interested. He heard a song or two.
So by that time, though, you didn't have anything to show or to really. No. Was it just a pad of paper with some lyrics on it, or
no? I think I probably sang him something, maybe, which would not normally be the process. You'd basically play a tape or something, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And but for some reason, but you know what? Rick was so smart, man. He, as you know, he became an icon.
Oh, yeah.
He started the Muscle Shoals boom, and but he was so smart. I told people he would sign anybody that could hold a pencil because he was just after it, man. He just wanted to start his publishing, and later on, he did me the honor of and privilege of releasing me from a exclusive songwriting contract to come to Nashville. And I'll make a joke about that too. I said, I don't know which one he was doing the most favor. I said, my songs could have been so bad he was glad to get rid of me. I don't know, but he did it. So I came to Nashville and signed with Bobby Bear.
Okay. Well, I've seen the Muscle Shoals documentary that I think has done did a great job. And
did you know that that's that guy's first documentary?
No way, really?
Directed.
Jeez, so good.
It's just amazing.
So good. But you know, I didn't know Rick Hall, but very strong personality. And I feel like he knew what he wanted all the time. How was it like actually working with him? And
well, you know what? I didn't work closely with him a lot because he was just busy doing his thing, and I was not in that town. I was out of town.
Oh, okay, you weren't there.
I was across a few cotton patches over in Athens, Alabama, or out on the road with the military. But there are many stories about Rick being he's a taskmaster. He was after a certain sound that he would not settle for anything less. He knew what it had to be for it to be successful. And he was right so many times, man. All of us were afraid not to listen to him. And like Etta James, she said they fought a lot, man, but he never told her anything that wasn't accurate. Awesome. He would insist on her doing certain things.
Right.
And so Rick was a taskmaster in the richest kind of way. And he was so driven. His life was very tragic. And basically, as the song that Alan sang and Alan and Jim wrote, he just wanted to be somebody. He just wanted to be somebody. He was a poor guy, never taken that seriously growing up, but it put determination in him, unbelievable.
That's incredible.
But he's a fascinating character.
Yeah.
But there are some funny things about him. I mean, he would have a session, and he'd have all these pickers in his recording studio doing a session, and he would say things like, "I like your lick, man, but that's not what I want." And he's been known to fire guitar players and have one waiting in the hall. Jeez. That's one of the funniest stories. He had a guy standing by just in case. But boy, he wanted it right.
Yeah.
But he took a bunch of country boys and made them amazing guitar players. I mean, musicians.
Yeah, musicians, yeah.
Wow, man. They came in there amateurs and left masters at what they did.
Were you able to see any of that process go down? Or were you?
Well, actually, my little band and I went over and recorded what we used to call a 45.
Okay.
It was a single with a B-side and A-side. And we cut a record over there. But later on, I saw that process, but I wasn't able to witness it at the time. I was still young in my career, and so there wouldn't have been opportunities for me to go.
Have you seen anything like that in Nashville since Muscle Shoals?
Oh, yeah.
Is that magic, really? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Some amazing producers who know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And people like Billy Sherrill, Jerry Kennedy, who produced the Statler Brothers, Harper Valley PTA, Tom T. Hall. They were all genius at what they did. And interestingly enough, Billy Sherrill, who became probably the number one producer in country music, he and Rick Hall used to be in a little country band. And Billy Sherrill played fiddle, and I think Rick played guitar. It's so funny, man. And those guys became icons.
Yeah.
Both of them.
So I do want to ask you so I'm in corporate America, and sometimes when we kick off meetings with people that we're wanting to work with, prospects and other companies, we'll go around the room. Hi, I'm Jason, and I'll ask, what's your first concert you ever went to and your last concert, most recent concert? Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting to see, what that is. So my first concert,
that's interesting.
Yeah, my first concert ever was at the Missouri State Fair in Sedalia, and I saw the band Alabama.
Really?
In the mid 80s. And
man.
Yeah, so like I want to ask you, as a native Alabamian or son of Alabama,
yeah,
I mean, how cool is that to have the iconic band, of the 80s, Alabama, record some of your
well,
stuff?
I tell you, I was in the middle of music industry at that time. I was having a good bit of success, and number one, let me say, it was amazing to have that happen with one song. Right. I mean, my first cut on Alabama was a thing called Burn, Georgia, Burn, and a title my dad never did like. He thought it was something else, but it was a love song during the Civil War.
Right.
And but they cut a bridge. They cut Burn, Georgia, Burn, and boy, they did a great job on it.
That's a great song.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It's
You know about that
Burn,
song?
Georgia. It's like a melancholic.
Yeah,
It's just very soft. Yeah.
Man,
I haven't heard that in a long time, but I didn't know you wrote that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then later on we got High Cotton cut. They cut a thing called Southern Star. I'm in a hurry and don't know why. All three of those went to number one. I'll tell you a quick, interesting story about Alabama. They also cut Ozark Mountain Jubilee. But much to my surprise, they tried to make a love song out of it. It's not a love song. And so there I was making very little money, didn't have any money or whatever, but I went over, Harold Shedd, who produced them at the time, invited me over to listen. And I was so disappointed in how they cut the song. I almost went back to Harold to ask him not to put that out because it was so embarrassing. However, as things go, it ended up in the can, as they say.
Yeah.
And it never did come out. But it may still come out. But
was that before Oak Ridge, the Oak Ridge Boys recorded, or was it after?
No, it was. Oh, interesting question. It may have been before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
But
Sorry.
And actually, William Lee Golden, who sang that lead on that, is from Alabama, and he really identified with the lyric, although it's talking about Ozarks.
Yeah.
But it had a sentiment in it that Alabamians would understand, and he did a great job on it. Very believable.
Yeah.
Which can be as important as anything. Yeah.
Obviously, you also helped or worked a lot with Waylon Jennings' autobiography about his life. I guess was Waylon.
And Waylon called it an autobiography.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he as cool as he seems to be? Like,
no, he was cooler.
He was cooler. Okay.
Golly, man.
Okay.
He's the one artist. There have been others, but he's the one artist I think of who remained bigger than life after I got to know him. He was a wonderful man, had a big heart, more fun than a barrel of monkeys, man. I'm telling you, he had a sense of humor. And I used to love to make him laugh. And he loved to make everybody else laugh. And so we had a blast, man. It was big time. It was dealing in the big time with that boy.
What about him? Was he just was he always like, just ongoing? Was it like you mentioned the sense of humor? Like what was it about that sticks with you?
Um, Well, in the writing process, one way we did it, he would bring me what I call chunks of thought about his life, and then I would reduce it down into lines. And then he and I both would do that. And he could write a killer line too. So one time, one of the biggest fun things that happened, we were messing around with a line on a song, and we weren't agreeing with each other on it. So I decided that night, the next day, I was going to have some fun with Waylon on that song, on that line. So we come in, he orders Brown's Burgers, which he loved, for everybody in the office. He'd do that every time we got together. And then he'd sit around the kitchen table and tell his war stories about him, Willie, and all the people. And people dropping by the office couldn't believe Waylon Jennings up there in the kitchen telling stories. Well, anyhow, we had this line we were working on, and so I had already made up my mind I was really going to push his buttons on this. I said, Waylon, I think we ought to use that line, man. I think it's right. He said, his response was, he said, I'll tell you what you do, Hoss. You write that line down on a little piece of paper, and you roll it up, put it in your pocket. And in a few days, you throw that so-and-so away. And I just fell out. I fell out laughing at him. And he knew then I was I think he already knew, actually, that I was pulling his leg. But it was things like that all the time.
That's good. How much was Jessie part of that?
Well, she wasn't in the actual process of writing. However, we were, my wife and I were invited to their home, and one Christmas they had a Christmas gathering, and there we are sitting in their place in Brentwood, and people are coming in like Chet Atkins and his wife, Tom T. Hall and his wife, Marty Stewart and Connie.
Yeah.
Connie
Smith, right?
What is her last name?
It's Smith, right? Connie
yes,
Smith? Yeah,
Connie
yeah.
Smith.
Yeah.
She's an icon. Wonderful singer. All these people coming in, and I looked at my wife. I said, "What in the heck are we doing here?" And then after all the crowd dissipated after the gathering, Jessie was over here on one sofa taking a nap. Waylon was sitting here reading cowboy poems to Kitty and me, my wife and I, from a cowboy book, poet book that somebody had given him. And he ended up giving me that book.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And it was surreal, man. I mean, Waylon Jennings in that Waylon voice reading us cowboy poems.
I mean, how cool is that?
That's cool as it gets.
I mean, that's as cool as it gets.
Yeah. But he was a wonderful man. I will always say he was a stubborn man. It was his way or the highway. And it was kind of that way with a lot of things in his life. But that's what we witnessed with his music. And so it worked against him sometimes. And it worked for him a lot.
Got it.
But he could be stubborn.
Well, it's interesting what you said, though, about going to that party with all the spouses and everything.
Celebrities.
And you looked at Kitty and said, what are we doing here? That kind of surprises me, given how much confidence you have in your abilities, right? Like
you can lose confidence real quick and those people start walking in the door, man.
I guess so, right?
I was just sitting there trying to be quiet, actually. Yeah. And but yeah, and that was kind of early in the years, of my career. And I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing. That's incredible.
Yeah, I think it's a good story, and it's very true.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think gatherings like that are as could be as iconic today as they, that would have been whenever that happened. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
because I know that they're big stars still around, but I don't know, there's something about those names that you just talked about
Yeah.
that it's like, how
Well, most of them don't reach that level of success.
yeah.
I mean, those were household names.
Yeah.
And but yeah, you could still have a gathering of the right ones, But
Yeah.
it's pretty magical.
No, that's great. Thanks so much for sharing that. So I
By the way, were you ever in radio? Because you got a good voice.
I appreciate that. No, I wasn't.
You wasn't?
Yeah, I have a good face for radio.
Oh, you're okay on that.
But anyway, I appreciate you saying that. All right, so let's get back to songwriting. So when we were messaging and trying to get this scheduled, I was like, hey, I've got some ideas on some stuff. And it was interesting because you came back with, I thought, some really interesting perspective.
Yeah.
And so I wrote some of that down,
Okay,
and I just
okay.
I want to read it for the audience, and then if you can expand on
Okay.
that. So, because part of this thing is like, I've got a piece of paper that I'm going to show you that you haven't
Okay.
seen yet with those words on paper.
Okay.
And I think I asked, like, can anyone write a song? And you said, I don't think just anyone can write a song alone and or consistently and make a living doing it. I do believe most anyone could, with the help from a professional, become extremely lucky writing one song, a fluke,
Yeah.
and even earn a living at it.
Yeah.
And I know those who have,
Yeah.
but they still aren't songwriters.
Yeah.
At the very best, they're only co-writers,
Yeah.
not songwriters.
Yeah.
That's a good perspective.
Yeah. And I was trying to be very honest. Well, obviously, I was being very candid. But, yeah, that's my think. That's the way I think. It's similar to just anybody that holds a knife is not a brain surgeon.
Yeah, right.
So anybody that can hold a pen or pencil, they're not songwriters. And it kind of rubs us songwriters wrong when we hear somebody claiming to be writers when we know they're not. And because it's unfair to us because we've been through a lot to get to where we get. And that stuff's, it's not fair for them to say they are if they haven't put in the time.
Yeah, that's good perspective. I mean, there's been a lot of, I guess the term is one-hit wonders, right? There's
There
been a
have
lot
been.
of those
There
through
have
years,
been.
right? Yeah. Yeah.
But there are reasons why they were one hits. They never did do anything as good or better
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
as, so.
Is it, can you learn? Is it learned or is it innate or is it a little bit of both?
I think skills are learned, but there's a thing that we don't know how to identify that we call the gift that a person might or may not have. That you can't teach. That has to come from the person. And they get there a lot of different ways. Poverty can rub that out of us, in us. Influences in our lives can rub that thing until it's similar to creating a pearl that the oysters do. It's life that's making that gift in us. And let me quickly say, anything that's good that any of us do, we certainly don't want to recognize any help that God may have been in it. However, I hear things being said by people they're giving God credit on. I don't think God wants credit on some of those things. They're very bad. They're very bad. I don't think he would write better than that.
That's great.
So I'm real careful about saying things like that. But at the end of the process, I couldn't do anything without God's help. He allows things to happen in our lives, but I'm not so convinced he's directly involved every time. He just allows it to happen. And so that's just some fodder on that thought.
No, that's good. So we talked about the religious aspects of Ozark Mountain Jubilee. How much is faith sort of seen and heard through your lyrics through the years? Is it
Well,
sort of subtle?
Yes, it's very
Very
subtle.
subtle, right?
Because basically it's that thing you can't preach to people.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons that's just not wise, you know. But I did try to do moral stories, moral results in the songs that that were created by the characters in the songs. And let's see, where am I? But to answer your question, I intentionally tried to do things like that, like Life's Highway. There's a lot of philosophy in that. But philosophy can be Bible-based, or it can be not Bible-based.
Okay. Well, so we talked faith and religion as part of that thinking and mindset. You mentioned Kitty. You all ended up getting divorced, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I guess divorce is hard.
Unfortunately, it's very hard. It's very bad.
Yeah. I guess a lot of people, a lot of artists that I've heard about, or maybe I've even talked to, they're like, okay, that just happened. And it's like, okay, I'm going, and all this flood of emotion comes out. Did you go through that process too? And did any of that?
No. You know, Harlan Howard is famous for saying divorce is good for songwriting. He had several wives. But you know, I think some of the misery, some of the pain, and the anguish in my life came before I was married. And then as a result of being married, I went through some things that were not ideal. But I would say any emotion that I would use and transfer into other thoughts came from just a combination of the things I've experienced in life, good and bad.
Right. No, that's great.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
I had Kitty. Kitty is a very special lady, and it wasn't the music business that split us up. It was other stuff. And she was very supportive and a lot of help to me.
Oh, that's awesome.
In the years when we just barely afforded groceries, if we did.
Yeah, that's incredible.
At the time.
Right.
So she deserves a lot of credit on that.
Well, you mentioned earlier, kind of in joking, when I asked about butterflies, and you said, well, I thought you were going to ask me if you're still getting paid. And you mentioned that, you know, dirt poor, probably growing up, and then even it sounds like when you were married as older. But as someone that isn't part of the music industry, are you still getting paid on like high cotton?
Yeah.
Like what does that look like? Is that
not very
is
good?
That a couple
right
bucks? Is that a couple bucks a month? Is it?
Well, no. It can be. Well, I'll kind of quote Jim McBride. I just did another podcast with Jim the other day, and he said something to the effect of chasing that neon rainbow. Every quarter is like having a new cut because it makes so much money.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So it still can be material, like it can be material meaning substantial.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
But they dwindle down.
Yeah, sure.
You know, they have their periods. Then if they get recut, it's another burst of income. And but they always are playing, and we get pennies from television performance, live performance. Anytime you're hearing a song,
just that
somebody's going to eventually get a penny or two out of it.
Well, fingers crossed for Back Porch Poet. All right, come on, everybody.
Yeah.
Right? You got more coming, hopefully. Yeah.
Thank you.
So
actually, if I'm putting that title out, somebody will probably write it and get out there before we do. You know, so
no, that's all right.
You have to have that deal to deal with.
No, that's good. Well, so I asked this next question, and out of full respect of what you've done in your life, right? Here, let me pull this up. Because I asked this of all artists, because everybody is on a trajectory. Right. Some are early, some are mid, some are later. Right.
Yeah. And
it's always interesting to get to hear where they think they are today and where they want to be. So again, as a Hall of Fame songwriter, where do you think you are as a songwriter today, and where do you want to be? Does that still apply to you?
You know what? I'm at a real good place as a writer. I'm you know, with all due respect to everybody, and I'm a humble guy, but I'm also honest. But I'm a pretty doggone good writer. Yeah.
I love that.
And I may be a better editor than I am a writer,
Okay.
which is saying a lot. But I learned that as a music publisher, teaching writers to write. I'd get them while they were green. They cost less with them, and then I would teach them, and then they would rise up in their career, and buy cars and buy houses and things like that. I mean, and to see the looks on their face when they start getting it, start getting why things are going well and blah blah blah. It's a beautiful sight.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Somebody said about somebody one time, said he's green, but he's a beautiful shade of green. So you have those different levels, you know.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. All right, so we're gonna put your editing skills to the test.
All right.
Are you good with that?
I'm going to blow you away, man.
All right. Well, so let me get my phone out, because I wrote it down on a piece of paper for you. So I need to give you the backstory on this. So I just saw my parents. Both my parents are in their 80s. My dad is 89, almost 89. My mom is 83, right?
Oh, good. You
So
got good genes.
Yeah, and they're healthy and all that. But I remember very vividly in Missouri driving out west to Colorado. We'd go through Kansas, we'd go, Colorado, we'd be in the mountains or whatever. And my dad, it felt like every 5 miles, but he'd point out the window and he'd say, hey, Jace, you see the old road? There's the old road. So like we were be on the interstate or a highway, but you can see the road cut kind of on the side of the mountain. And I think it was probably, wagon wheels at one point, maybe, in that maybe early 20th century, but you could see how it was engineered and architected. But he'd always talk about the old road.
Yeah. Could have started as a cow path.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of them did.
Yeah. So the old road. And I was like, oh, okay. Anyway, so I've taken that. So that's it's
I like that.
It's a little bit of sentimental aspect.
Yeah.
So here's words on paper called Old Road. And you've never seen this, right?
Mm-mm.
All right. So I'm going to read it out loud and you can kind of read through this. All right. So Old Road. Our love's like the old road, beat up and overgrown. Weeds and brush make the signs hard to see. But I still love our old road. It's the only way I want to go. Bound together with you, my heart's set free. So that's like a verse and a little thing.
Nice,
right there.
yeah.
All right, well, nice. I get a nice.
Okay.
All right. So deep ruts in the earth are the scars from another day. Heavy rains and wild rivers drown the big sky plains. Hoof prints and wagon wheels of those that traveled before. There's no doubt they guide our route along this path we explore. And then it goes back to the chorus. So, I may have gone too far on some of the imagery there, but so as you look at that and as you hear me say, what's the first thing that comes to mind, and how would you kind of, you talk about, I'm not saying there's magic here, but how would you kind of carve around the edges?
Okay.
Or would you crumple this up and throw it over there?
First thing I'd do, I would say, not old road, I'd say the old road.
The old road.
Okay.
So why is that? How important is that?
Well, it gives it makes it tangible. Makes it tangible.
Okay.
The old road, the house, as opposed to house. The house tells you a lot more about it. The house, and the old road. Okay, so I'd go there, but you got a confusion on concept on this.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what it is. It's you kind of introduce the love thing comparison, but so it leaves your listener wondering, what is this song about? Is it about the love thing, or is it about the road, or what?
Yeah.
And you say more about the road.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons,
Yeah.
you're describing it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get the images out there.
It's an analogy
Yeah.
of the love thing. So Our love's like the old road. See, you did it in your line.
Yeah.
Beat up, overgrown, weeds, bush make signs hard to see, make a sign hard to see. But I still love the old road.
It's almost like this notion of, I'm thinking about if you're in a relationship forever or
Yeah,
a
it's
long
rough,
time,
it's
it's
rough,
like,
but
it's
still,
rough and it's
still the best we
overgrown
got.
and you can still see it, but I still want to go. Like,
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know what you're after.
Yeah.
And so I would think I would think you need a little more reference to the love thing, and you need to be gentle with it. You and vulnerable with it.
Okay.
Which is, by the way, a thing that's hard for men especially to be. Yeah. And writers have to get to that point. They don't do that quickly, early. But you have to get to the point where you're willing to lay your heart out there. And let people walk on it or not. People appreciate it or not appreciate it.
Right.
But you got to be willing to do that. Otherwise, people aren't going to listen to what you have to say.
Got it.
They want to be stirred like that, and they want for you to go through the misery rather than them. They want to look at, they want to hear what you're doing, and thinking, wow, I wish I could be like that.
Interesting. That's really good.
But in their privacy, they don't have to be like that.
Yeah.
And most of them won't.
Yeah.
So, let's see.
And you may not be able to read my handwriting.
Yeah,
I tried
I can.
Well, I tried to rhyme, and I think I've read where you are a real big believer in what
True rhyme.
True rhyme.
Yeah. But I still love our old road. That would be. But I still love that old road.
That old road. Yeah.
Because he hasn't shared that with her.
Right.
He just said it. He just refers to it. He don't share it with her. But then you do. You say our.
Yeah.
Whole different thing there. So you either got to introduce it to her sooner, or you got to get rid of that our. I still love that old road. Okay.
That's so good.
He's the only. It's the only way I want to go.
Yeah.
I'd probably say that's the only way I want to go.
That's the only way.
Bound Together with You. That's a killer.
Yeah.
That's killer. My Heart's Set Free, So, I think I would have probably said, My Heart's Set Free, Bound Together with You.
Oh, okay.
That gives emphasis on that, the most important line.
That's great.
And let's see.
Yeah.
Deep ruts in the earth are scars from another day. I love this. This is a little more poetry than it is a song. And there's a big difference.
Yeah.
A lot of people think they're the same, but they're not. They're really different. They communicate differently and speak to people in different ways.
Yeah. Well, I'm really going to be vulnerable here because I'm going to try to sing, but it's not really like a melody, but what I hear is, our love's like the old road, beat up and overgrown. Like I can't carry a tune, but like that's in my head. That's what I hear. Yeah. It's a very just like a
I hear you. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's dated.
Well,
it's dated.
I'm getting up there.
It's old gospels. What it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
my dad actually.
Lyric.
Well, my dad loves he loves old Southern gospel.
I bet he liked the Chuck Wagon Gang.
Oh, I'm sure he does. Yeah.
Golly, I grew up with him.
Yeah. No, he.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
All right.
So there's some good.
There's
stuff
something
in
there. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's really interesting that the first thing, all you wanted to do was add the. That's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because sometimes it's an apostrophe that makes the difference. Or taking an S off of a word, it phrases better if it's singular.
Yeah. So is that the learned skill that you've learned?
Yes.
That's an example of that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, my mind's telling me one day you did that and it didn't work. So you need to get rid of that plural.
Okay.
It'll phrase better. Yeah, it's experience.
That's awesome.
And like I say, I think you can teach skill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for doing that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm honored.
Hey, I'm glad it was as good as it was because I had something to work with.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know what to expect.
No, I appreciate that. All right. So Roger, I think you've been watching some of my stuff, which I'm thrilled to death with. So you may have already seen me and heard me ask this. I ask it to everybody. Seems like you've been a very curious person your entire life.
Very much
right?
so.
And you've seen and experienced so many things. So I can't wait to hear the answer to this. But, this podcast is inspired by curiosity.
Yeah.
So at this point in this Hall of Fame career, what are you most curious about?
Everything. Everything, really. I tell you, I love to study people. I'm a people watcher. I remember that reminds me of a true story. We were sitting on the square one day with my mother. My mother was a very sweet, Christian, humble woman. And people from that era will understand what I'm about to say. There was this lady walking down the street. She was an Asian lady. And my mother said, "Look, coming yonder to that Jap. That Jap." So, see, that came from the war days.
Right.
And, but I think we're all observers of others a lot. But in my case, I study people to learn about myself. That's why I do that. I'm just real curious. Why did they say that instead of this? Is that why I say this?
Oh,
and
interesting.
things like that.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm curious about everything.
That's awesome.
I really am.
That's so good. That's probably why you're still writing.
I think it'll help my brain grow old.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, on behalf of millions of fans that have heard your music for decades, thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thank you for being curious. Thank you for the gift.
Wow.
Thank you for the magic. Thank you for everything. And it's an honor to meet you and have this conversation.
Oh, man, thank you so much. And thank everyone for any part you played in helping me do what I love. I've experienced my dreams come true.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Roger. Really appreciate you. Yeah.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
All right. Thanks, man.